Beloved, we live in a world that celebrates openness and rewards oversharing. But here's the truth. Not every part of your journey is meant to be posted, told, or explained. Your story is precious and it deserves the care of your own discernment. Boundaries are not barriers. They are bridges to a more empowered you. When you share everything too soon, you risk giving away pieces of yourself to people who haven't earned the right to hold them. Protect your energy and choose what you reveal wisely. When you embrace privacy, you create room to heal, grow, and transform without the weight of external opinions. Remember, your greatest strengths often emerge in moments of quiet reflection. And here's the most beautiful part. The right people, the ones who truly see you, will respect the parts of you that you keep sacred. They'll understand that trust is a journey, not a demand. Your worth isn't determined by how much you share. It's rooted in your courage to protect what matters most. So walk boldly, live authentically, but always remember, your story is yours to tell on your terms. These spaces, not everyone, deserves front row seats to your life. Some people will demand access, some will ask for it, and others might even take it without your consent. But the truth is, not everyone is equipped to hold your story, your struggles, or your joys with the respect they deserve. Guarding your sacred spaces is not about building walls or shutting others out entirely. It's about discerning who has earned the privilege of stepping into your personal world and who is just passing through. Your sacred spaces are the places where your heart beats most authentically. They are the raw, unfiltered parts of you that need nurturing, healing, and trust. These spaces are not meant to be shared with everyone because not everyone will cherish them the way they should be. Just like a garden, if you let anyone trample through, the beauty of your inner world can be lost. But when you protect your garden, it has the space to flourish. You can cultivate your growth without the interference of outsiders. In life, there will be people who ask for entry into your most intimate spaces simply because they want to be close to you, but proximity does not always equal trust. Some people, while well-meaning, may not know how to hold your pain or joy with the care and respect that it deserves. They may share your words with others, misinterpret your actions, or offer advice that doesn't align with your true needs. By sharing too much too soon, you risk allowing these people to influence your energy, taking from you in ways you're not even aware of. Protecting your sacred spaces means making conscious choices about who gets to be in your life and to what extent. You don't owe anyone access to your innermost thoughts or your vulnerabilities, especially if you haven't built enough trust with them. It's essential to remember that not every person who enters your life has the capacity to honor your boundaries. And that's okay. It's a matter of self-respect, knowing when to say, this part of me is for me right now. You are the guardian of your own heart, and that means it's your responsibility to decide when and how much of yourself you share. Sometimes that means creating a space where you can retreat and take the time you need to process emotions or experiences before allowing others in. Just like we need our physical spaces to rest and recharge, our emotional spaces need the same. Without this intentional care, we risk running on empty, giving away pieces of ourselves until there's nothing left to give. Guarding your sacred spaces is also an act of self-love. It is a reminder that you deserve to hold parts of yourself close without justification or explanation. You don't have to apologize for not being fully transparent with everyone. You have every right to withhold the details of your life, especially when it's for your own well-being. Your energy is sacred and not everyone is worthy of it. Protecting yourself isn't about being cold or distant. It's about ensuring you're surrounded by people who understand and respect your need for boundaries. By setting these boundaries, you create room for your own peace and growth. Imagine a life where you didn't have to worry about others taking more than they give. A life where you could nurture your emotional health and resilience without external pressures. It's possible when you understand the value of guarding your sacred spaces. It's not about hiding, but rather about fostering a sense of wholeness that comes from within. When you hold space for yourself, you make space for your own growth, your own healing, and your own joy. So, beloved, understand this. Your life is precious, your energy sacred, and your personal journey is yours alone to navigate. Guard those spaces that make you feel whole. Protect the pieces of you that are still fragile, still unfolding. Not everyone needs to know everything, and that's okay. In fact, it's necessary for you to thrive. Your sacred spaces are where you connect with your truest self. So protect them, cherish them, and allow them the time and care they need to grow in peace. Being genuine doesn't mean disclosing everything. In fact, true authenticity lies in the delicate balance between being honest and preserving your inner sanctity. Many people think that in order to be authentic, they must share every detail of their lives, reveal every fear and every secret. But the truth is, authenticity isn't about oversharing. It's about being real, being present, and allowing others to see the essence of who you are without feeling the need to give them access to all the parts of you. You see, authenticity is about showing up as your true self, but that doesn't mean exposing every thought, every emotion, or every memory. It's about being honest about your journey without feeling the pressure to make others understand every twist and turn. Not every part of your story needs to be shared, and not every emotion needs to be put on display for the world to see. What makes you authentic is your ability to be real in the moments that matter without overloading others with information that they may not be ready to carry. The misconception that authenticity requires complete openness can be damaging. It can create a sense of vulnerability that is not always helpful or healthy. Vulnerability is powerful, but it must be wielded wisely. Sometimes we confuse being open with being exposed. You can be open without being an open book. The strength of your authenticity comes from choosing what to share, when to share it, and with whom. Not everyone deserves access to the deepest parts of your soul, and that's okay. Authenticity is about discernment, knowing when to be open and when to hold space for yourself. When you are truly authentic, you don't feel the need to explain every action or justify every choice. Authenticity is rooted in self-acceptance, in knowing who you are and being confident enough to stand in that truth. You don't need to broadcast your every move or decision to prove your genuineness. Being real means not needing external validation and understanding that the core of your being is valid, regardless of how much or how little you share. It's also important to understand that authenticity is not about perfect transparency. It's about aligning your words and actions with your true values, even if you don't disclose every detail of your life. Being true to yourself means knowing when to keep some things private, knowing that holding space for yourself is just as important as being present with others. You can be deeply authentic and still maintain boundaries. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. And by honoring them, you allow yourself to thrive while still offering the world the real version of you. Sometimes the pressure to overshare comes from external expectations. Society, social media, and even our own inner voices may push us to reveal more than we're comfortable with. But here's the truth. You do not owe anyone your entire life story. You do not owe anyone access to your vulnerabilities just because they ask for it. In a world that often values visibility and accessibility, remember that it's okay to choose what to make visible and what to keep sacred. Authenticity is not about pleasing others. It's about staying true to yourself, even when the world around you may demand more. The beauty of authenticity without oversharing is that it allows you to connect with others in a deeper, more meaningful way. When you reveal yourself thoughtfully and with intention, people can relate to your honesty without feeling overwhelmed by too much information. It allows others to see your vulnerability in a way that is empowering, not exhausting. It also creates a sense of trust because you've shown that you are willing to be real, but you've also shown that you respect yourself enough to maintain boundaries. In relationships, both personal and professional, people value those who are authentic without being overly revealing. It creates space for mutual respect and understanding. You become someone who is known for their integrity, not their transparency. Your authenticity doesn't need to be a performance or a constant display. It's simply a state of being. It's the quiet strength that comes from knowing who you are and standing firm in that truth without the need to broadcast it to everyone around you. So, beloved, embrace your authenticity, but understand that being genuine doesn't require you to share everything. It's about showing up as you are, letting your light shine, and trusting that those who are meant to be in your life will see you for who you truly are. Without needing to know every single detail of your journey, let go of the idea that vulnerability means exposure. Vulnerability means strength. Authenticity means truth. And truth doesn't need to be loud to be heard. It simply needs to be real. Silence. Silence is not emptiness, it's clarity. In a world that often demands constant noise, action, and opinion, silence can feel uncomfortable or even unnatural. But in truth, silence holds immense strength. It is not a void. It is a space for reflection, understanding, and self-growth. When we pause and allow ourselves to sit in silence, we create a sacred space for our thoughts, emotions, and ideas to settle, far from the judgment and distractions of the outside world. It's in these quiet moments that we often find the most profound insights about who we are and what we truly want. There is an incredible power in holding certain things within, allowing them time to grow and mature before sharing them with others. Not every thought or feeling needs to be immediately vocalized. Some emotions are too complex, too delicate to be rushed into expression. Silence gives us the room to explore our inner worlds, to process our experiences, and to connect with the deeper layers of our being. In a world that encourages us to speak up and share constantly, silence teaches us the value of waiting, of sitting with our feelings until they are ready to be expressed. In silence, we connect with our true selves. It is in those quiet moments when the noise of daily life fades that we can hear the voice of our inner wisdom, the voice that often gets drowned out by the demands and distractions around us. When we allow ourselves to embrace silence, we create an opportunity to listen, not just to the world, but to the subtle whispers of our own heart. Silence doesn't require us to perform or explain. It simply asks us to be present with ourselves without the pressure of having to say or do anything. Silence also has the power to heal. There are moments in life when we are going through challenges, experiencing grief, or facing uncertainty. In these times, silence offers a kind of sanctuary. It is not a cold absence, but a gentle embrace that allows us to feel our pain without rushing us through it. Silence provides the space for our emotions to surface, for our grief to be expressed without fear of judgment, and for our healing to unfold at its own pace. In silence, we learn that healing does not always require words or explanations. Sometimes the most profound healing happens in the stillness, where we can simply be with ourselves. Another powerful aspect of silence is that it shields us from external judgment. In a world that often places so much value on opinions, expectations, and constant feedback, silence offers a refuge from the noise of others. By choosing silence, we are giving ourselves the freedom to decide when and with whom we share our truth. Silence acts as a protective barrier, allowing us to process, reflect, and grow without the added pressure of other people's expectations. It grants us the permission to hold space for ourselves, to grow in our own time, and to be fully present in our own experience. In relationships, silence can be just as powerful as words. It's easy to think that the strength of a relationship is based on constant communication, but sometimes the most profound connections are formed in shared silence. The quiet moments between two people where no words are needed can be the most meaningful. Silence allows space for under. It shows that we can be present with each other, not because we have something to say, but because we simply are. Moreover, silence enables us to act from a place of thoughtfulness rather than reaction. In a culture where quick responses and immediate solutions are often expected, silence gives us the gift of pause. It allows us to reflect before we speak, to consider the impact of our words, and to respond with intention rather than impulse. Silence is a tool for deepening our understanding, allowing us to choose our words and actions more wisely, rooted in our values and our truth. Finally, silence is a vital part of cultivating peace. When we take time to be silent, we create the conditions for inner peace to emerge. Silence helps us quiet the internal chatter that often keeps us anxious, overwhelmed, or distracted. It provides a sanctuary where we can reconnect with our inner sense of calm, allowing us to approach the world with greater clarity, focus, and resilience. By embracing silence, we tap into a well of inner strength and wisdom that helps us navigate life with greater grace and ease. So, beloved, remember that silence is not an absence, it is a presence. It is the presence of clarity, of understanding, of growth. Silence is a space where we can hear ourselves and the world around us in a deeper, more meaningful way. Don't fear the quiet moments. Instead, embrace them as opportunities for transformation. When we allow silence to be our guide, we find strength in stillness, clarity in the unknown, and peace in the midst of the noise. Trust isn't automatic. It's earned, not given freely, and it's one of the most precious gifts we can offer to others. In a world that moves at a fast pace, it's easy to assume that trust is something we can hand out casually or expect without effort. But real trust, the kind that runs deep and withstands challenges, is something that takes time to build. It's not something you should give away without careful consideration of who you're entrusting it to. Trust requires patience, discernment, and consistency on both sides. When you give someone your trust, you are giving them access to your vulnerability. You're allowing them to see parts of you that are often hidden, parts that require protection. And with that level of openness, there must be an expectation of respect and care in return. Too often we assume that just because someone is in our lives, they deserve our trust. But trust isn't something that can be assumed or rushed into. It must be earned, tested, and proven over time. The act of earning trust begins with consistency. It's about showing up reliably, time and time again. You don't earn trust by making promises that you can't keep or by being inconsistent in your actions. Trust is built in the small, everyday moments where your actions align with your words. It's through this steady alignment that people begin to see you as someone who can be counted on, someone who honors their commitments. Without this consistency, any attempt to offer trust becomes shaky and unsteady. It's also essential to recognize that trust is a two-way street. While you are careful about where you place your trust, you must also be worthy of the trust others offer you. Earning trust is not just about receiving it from others, it's also about demonstrating that you can be trusted yourself. This means being dependable, being honest, and being transparent when needed. The same way you need to see consistency from others to build trust, they need to see it in you. Trust is never a one-sided equation. It requires mutual respect, honesty, and integrity. Before you share the depth of who you are with someone, it's vital to take time to observe their actions and their character. Trust is not something you should rush into simply because someone is close to you or has known you for a long time. There are many people who will tell you all the right things, who will appear supportive on the surface, but their actions will not reflect their words. Watch how people respond to challenges, how they treat others when no one is watching, and whether they have a history of integrity. Trust is not a gift. It is a decision that requires discernment. Letting others prove their worth before you share the depths of who you are Doesn't mean you're being closed off or guarded. It's about protecting your emotional and mental well-being. There's nothing wrong with being cautious before revealing your most vulnerable parts to someone. It's a wise practice to take time to gauge the intentions and integrity of others. People may come into your life with good intentions, but trust is something that must be earned through actions, not just promises or words. Furthermore, earning trust is a gradual process. Trust is something that compounds over time through small, repeated actions. It's not something that happens in one grand gesture or after one meaningful conversation. True trust builds through daily interactions, through being there when it counts, keeping your word, and showing respect for the boundaries of others. The more you show consistency and integrity in your actions, the stronger your trust becomes. It's in these small moments that trust is cultivated and nurtured. In relationships, whether personal or professional, trust is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without trust, there is no honesty, no open communication, no mutual respect. When trust is present, you can navigate disagreements with understanding, collaborate openly, and face challenges together with a sense of security. But when trust is absent, even the best relationships become strained and fragile. That's why it's so important to let trust be earned, not assumed. It provides the stability and safety you need to grow and thrive in any relationship. So, beloved, remember this: trust is a sacred gift that must be handled with care. Don't rush into giving it, and don't assume that it will always be reciprocated. Let others show you who they are through their actions, not their words. And in turn, be someone who is worthy of the trust placed in you. Trust is not a transaction. It's a relationship that requires time, effort, and mutual respect. When you allow trust to grow naturally, you create a solid foundation upon which deep, meaningful connections can flourish. Privacy is not secrecy, it's resilience. In a world where transparency is often equated with honesty and where sharing every detail of your life can feel like an expectation, privacy becomes a powerful act of self-preservation and strength. When you set boundaries around your personal life, you are not hiding or pretending to be something you're not. Instead, you are creating the space necessary for your soul to breathe, grow, and flourish. Privacy is an intentional choice to protect your inner world from external forces that may disrupt your peace or hinder your personal development. The act of preserving privacy is often misunderstood. Some might see it as avoidance or even dishonesty, when in fact it's the opposite. It's about understanding that not every part of your life is for public consumption, and that some parts of you need to be held sacred in order to thrive. By keeping certain aspects of yourself private, you are allowing them the space they need to develop in a healthy, nurturing environment, free from judgment, unsolicited opinions, and society expectations. Privacy, in this sense, becomes a tool for resilience. Creating privacy isn't about shutting yourself off from others. Rather, it's about being selective in what you share and with whom you share it. Not everyone is equipped to hold your vulnerability with the care it deserves. There are parts of you that need to grow, to heal, to mature before they are ready to be seen by others. Privacy allows you the freedom to nurture these parts of yourself without feeling rushed or pressured to reveal them before they're ready. It's in these quiet, private moments that your true resilience is forged. In a society that often values visibility, there's an incredible strength in choosing privacy. It's a declaration that you don't need the approval or validation of others to feel complete. Your worth is not determined by how much of your life you expose to the world. It's determined by how deeply you connect with yourself. When you embrace privacy, you give yourself permission to honor your own needs without feeling guilty or inadequate for doing so. You become less reliant on external validation and more focused on internal growth and self-love. This autonomy is a powerful form of resilience that allows you to remain grounded and true to your own path. Privacy also serves as a protective shield. By setting boundaries around your personal life, you are safeguarding your energy and mental health. We live in a world that constantly asks for more attention, more sharing, more exposure. The pressure to overshare can be overwhelming, and when we give in to these pressures, we often find ourselves depleted, misunderstood, or drained. Privacy then becomes an act of self-care. It's about recognizing that some things are not meant to be shared with everyone, and that by keeping certain aspects of yourself private, you are protecting your emotional and mental well-being. Boundaries are the foundation of privacy. When you set clear and intentional boundaries, you are creating a space where you can thrive without the intrusion of outside influences. These boundaries give you the freedom to say, this part of me is for me right now, without feeling the need to explain yourself. The stronger your boundaries, the more resilient you become. You no longer feel the need to defend your privacy or apologize for keeping certain things to yourself. Instead, you embrace your right to protect your personal space, knowing that doing so is essential for your growth. Resilience in privacy also comes from the ability to trust yourself. When you keep certain things private, you are trusting yourself to know what is best for your journey. You are honoring your intuition and recognizing that there is strength in solitude. Sometimes the most important moments of growth happen in the quiet, when no one is watching and no one is demanding anything from you. These private moments are where your true self can emerge, unencumbered by the expectations of others. In privacy, you reclaim your power and your autonomy. Finally, privacy fosters deeper connections with others. When you allow yourself the space to grow privately, you are better equipped to show up authentically in your relationships. By protecting the parts of yourself that need time to develop, you avoid the risk of oversharing too soon, which can often lead to feeling vulnerable in ways that aren't healthy or productive. When you've taken the time to nurture and protect your inner world, you can offer your true self to others in a way that is more meaningful and sustainable. Privacy isn't about shutting people out. It's about creating the conditions for deeper, more intentional connections to form. So, beloved, understand that privacy is not about hiding or being secretive. It is an act of resilience. By creating boundaries and protecting certain aspects of yourself, you allow space for growth, healing, and self-love. You give yourself the permission to nurture your inner world at your own pace, without the pressure to reveal everything. Privacy is not weakness, it is strength. It is the quiet but powerful force that enables you to live authentically, to protect your peace, and to honor your journey. When you embrace privacy, you embrace your right to thrive on your own terms.